Boss FM. Now, Harvey Cruz here. We continue on National Women's Week, and we continue on with the 2020-2021 National Law Student of the Year. She is Ally Pruitt. How are you?
I'm doing great, Harvey. Thanks so much for the intro.
No problem, no worries. Let's start off this way because when I first found out about this, I was really happy about something like this. You are the CEO and founder of the Impact Project. Tell us about this.
Yeah, so we launched the Impact Project, which is a not-for-profit 501c3 organization in August of 2020, with the mission statement in mind that we were on a mission to positively impact the lives of youth and underserved communities by providing resources, mentorship, and guidance. And through that, wanting to show youth, giving youth a blueprint of how to reach their own individual version of success. And so it has always been a dream of mine to reach back out to communities similar to where I grew up in Rockford, Illinois, and make a difference, make a positive impact. And then after being named the National Law Student of the Year, as you mentioned in the intro, a mentor of mine kind of was like, what are you going to do with this platform? You need to go big or go home, basically. And so I took that and was like, gosh, what could I do? And I figured, now is as good of time as any, and it's time to get on the ground in the community doing good work. So I launched the Impact Project. It was a long time coming, basically a good chunk of quarantine. I have two incredible board of directors members in Anthony Jackson and Frederick or TJ Joshua, and we are up and running. Again, our initiatives to work with youth in underserved communities. We've done a backpack drive here in Chicago for youth on the West Side back in September. And our kind of biggest thing right now in this virtual world has been our success sessions. Try saying that 10 times fast, but didn't think of that when I named it. But it is to work with pre-law, 1L, and just first generation law students, since I'm a law student myself. But anyone is welcome. They're free sessions on Zoom. Where we bring in panels of guests to really expand students' networks and give them the keys to success that they need to succeed in law school.
Now, in about 5 months, it'll be like the 1-year anniversary. Since that time, has the pandemic affected your ways of maneuvering, or has it been smooth sailing?
It's definitely affected it in that, most of what we've done has been virtual. The book bag drive that we were able to do, we collaborated with Chicago Neighbors United, Secretary of State Jesse White, Alderman Walter Burnett, and other elected officials here. But that was, normally it's a huge event, right? People come out, we have hot dogs and face painting and all sorts of stuff. And this year it was, like a drive-through, which is okay. But, we're just doing the best that we can, I think, as everyone is, in making sure that we're getting our name out there, we're continuing to make a positive impact, and we're doing it on a virtual format. And we do have coming soon our mentorship program for middle and high school youth here in the city of Chicago. But we're not going to launch that until we're able to get in person, because it's important to us that, access to Wi-Fi, a quiet space, laptops, or iPads is not a barrier to join the program. So that's kind of put a damper on things. I wish we could have got that up and running. But again, it's important to us that any youth that wants to participate can. So we're doing the best we can in this virtual environment to bring a positive impact into people's homes via Zoom.
Absolutely. Ally Pruitt is here with us. You mentioned Rockford, Illinois. And when I think of anything Illinois, I think of Chicago. Mm-hmm. Now, in researching this, we know where we're going here. You're a Cubs fan at heart. I'm a Yankees fan, born in Jersey. I tend to keep things in the state. So I'm a Red Bulls fan in Jersey, Giants fan in Jersey, Yankees fan, that's the Bronx, but whatever. Mm-hmm. You are a Cubs fan, but in researching you, you're also a Packers fan. Now, if that was me, I'd probably be punished via a citizen's arrest. So how did you come about becoming a Cubs fan from Chicago and then the villainous Green Bay Packers over there as well?
Yeah, I think, like you just said, if someone could do a citizen's arrest on me, I'm sure it would have happened a million times already here living in Chicago. But there's a story behind it. I'll make this quick. I grew up in Rockford, Illinois, which, as you maybe don't know if you're listening, is close to the border of Wisconsin. Now, of course, it's in Illinois. So, again, like you mentioned, I'm a diehard Cubs fan. I was outside of Wrigley Field when they won the World Series. I'm a Bulls fan. I'm a Blackhawks fan. And then a Packers fan. But with that, so grew up in Rockford, same house. My parents still live there where I was born and raised. Our neighbors, who also have lived there forever, her grandfather scored the first touchdown in Packer history. So he's in the Hall of Fame. And she was just always like, she's family to us. And so I have a younger brother, and growing up, she would take my younger brother and I to Lambeau Field. And so we'd go to games, we sat first row 50-yard line, Lambeau Leap section, skybox for a playoff game. We had customized jerseys and just all the cool stuff. And so I tell everyone out there, if that was your first experience with the NFL, you'd be a Packer fan too. And in my lifetime, they've been pretty dang good. So I have never had to, like with the Cubs, cheer on the lovable losers and over and over again be disappointed. Always had a good team to cheer for. Loved going up to Lambeau. If you haven't been to Lambeau, it is an experience of a lifetime. It's almost like going to Yankee Stadium. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. If you're a sports fan, you got to go. That's why I'm a Packer fan. I'm probably the most diehard Packer fan out of all of my teams that I cheer for. Everybody knows that. And again, I don't know very many Packer fans here in Chicago. And so I'm sure if someone was going to make a citizen's arrest on a game day, it would likely be me.
That may be justifiable. I'm not sure if I'm judge and jury on that, but who knows? Ally Pruitt is here with us. Two things that stood out to me when I researched you was that the hashtag attorney AP and hashtag sports agent AP. Mm-hmm. Do those signify your career paths as of right now, or?
Yeah. I would say those are definitely kind of the two areas that I'm jumping into. So I'm in my last semester of law school at UIC Law here in Chicago, and I graduate May 8th. So the countdown is real. I am counting down the days. I have a calendar just hanging up, and I'm marking it off. And so hopefully this year, like I said, graduate in May. I'll take the bar exam in July, and hopefully, fingers crossed, pass on the first try. And so I should be a licensed attorney by the end of the year. And then as far as the sports agent stuff goes, working on some really cool stuff for that. Can't announce all of it quite yet. Still working out some kinks. But, I was an athlete my whole life. I have such a passion for the sports industry. I mean, my bachelor's degree is in journalism and sociology, but as far as the journalism side goes, I was like sports broadcast. That was my heart and soul. So I had a radio show in college. I was a sports anchor, worked for our athletic department, like you name it. And actually interned at NBC Sports Chicago and later worked there part-time basically all the way through law school. And so there's this part of me that always said, I will never leave the sports world. I'll find a way. And that's kind of advice I give students and just anyone out there is that if you have a passion, go for it. Don't be the person that puts a limit on your own success. There's enough barriers in this world that will try to stop you from reaching your goals. So you don't be another reason to that. And so I've always been someone that said, if you have multiple passions, dive into all of them. Have multiple things that you do, have multiple careers, multiple streams of income. Like you do that. If that's where your passions lie, do it. And so, like I said, I just believe firmly in having more women in sports. And as, athlete turned lawyer, hopefully soon, I really hope to combine both of those passions to make a difference in the world of sports, especially basketball.
Speaking of barriers, you mentioned the barriers that you go through, and because sports agencies or attorneys in general usually see like the names of like male dominated names on like the billboards there. Most sports agents, the super high profile ones, are male dominated. For you as a female, do you feel like you've you're going through certain barriers because of becoming a female entering a sports, and that your road to get where you want to be is tougher than normal?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think, there are a lot of incredible men in the industry that will stick their necks out for you and, allow you to get a seat at the table. And that's really what it's all about. I always say, if I have a seat at the table, matter of fact, I don't even need a seat at the table. If I can just get in the room, I can win. But it's those barriers as a woman and in such a male dominated industry, and whether that be sports or the law. I mean, you see it in both. And when you combine those two together, it's even just take that next level. And so, there are barriers to getting in the room. And I think, the biggest one is just being taken seriously. I always joke about what I call the quiz, which is, anytime, and I'm sure a lot of ladies out there can relate if you are in the sports arena, if you're chatting about sports or if you're in a meeting or something, there's always like this quiz that's asking you like, who won the World Series last year? Who was the closing pitcher on that team, or who won the Super Bowl, and who's the wide receiver that caught X touchdown, whatever. There's all of these like questions to prove that you know what you're talking about. And that quiz, if you will, is not replicated for men trying to join the industry. It's just for women. And it's happened to me so many times where I've been in rooms, like I said, or calls or what have you, even just casual conversation where the second you say you're in the sports industry, boom, here comes a quiz, right? And it's after that quiz, right? So it's like this barrier of, okay, could you answer this? Okay, wow, you really do know what you're talking about. And it's just like, yes, I work in the industry, or I have these credentials. Of course I know what I'm talking about. But again, that's just some of the barriers. And I think, the biggest thing too, on top of that, is just not having people that you can relate to on that level. So seeing more and more women walk into the sports arena and dominate it is special, because you have something in common with them. And I think the biggest thing to keep in mind is there is room for all of us at the table. For so long, there was like one token female, right? So teams or agencies or whatever would be like, all right, we have to do this, so we'll just hire like one or two. And I think that created a tense dynamic amongst females trying to break into the industry, because there was this mentality of, well, only one of us can make it. So why would I try to help out others? Because I haven't gotten my shot yet. And I think the biggest thing to keep in mind is, like I said, there's room for us all at the table. There's no reason that there can't be a completely female-run agency or a team run completely by women. There's just needs to be more diversity on all fronts. And I think we're inching hopefully closer and closer to that goal.
Ally Pruitt is here with us in National Women's Week here on Boss FM. Now, I'm going to try to add a bit of perspective to this question. CEO, founder of the Impact Project to help serve the youth, National Law Student of the Year, on the road to becoming an attorney, and on the road to becoming a sports agent. That alone dominates resumes just off the jump. When people see your accomplishments and how you go about them from now into the future, do you feel as though you become sort of looked at as like a role model for the next generation of youth, of women?
I mean, even hearing the word role model is such an honor. And I mentor a lot of women and even young men. And that really means the most to me. I will live and die by this quote that your success is defined by the positive impact you leave on other people. When our time on this earth is up someday, we're not chatting about, the shoes you wore, the money you had, the house you lived in, the car you drove, but we're talking about how you made us feel. Right, that's your legacy. And so I hope and pray that I am leaving a positive impact on this world and helping the next generation. It's my biggest goal in life. I think, I hope to reach levels of success as an attorney and as a sports agent and as a CEO of a not-for-profit. But I think even beyond that, my biggest goal is to just leave an extremely strong and positive impact on this world and on the next generation, so that the legacy lives on, the impact project lives on, and young women and men out there know that you don't have to come from, a family of attorneys or a family of folks in sports or whatever to achieve your goal. You have your own, every person's journey is different, it's unique, and that's on purpose. That's a good thing. And so I hope to just help the next generation come into their own, find their own path, and reach their own version of success. That's definitely the most important thing. And I'm hopeful that, yes, I will be a role model.
Absolutely. Ally Pruitt is here with us. Last thing, Ally. We do a little thing here called Tell Us a Story. It's basically story time. It's a bit broad, but you choose the direction of this. Tell us a story of any of your most memorable experiences, whether it's in the Impact Project, trying to become an attorney, on the road to become a sports agent, anything. The floor is yours here.
Wow. Okay. Any story. Well, I'll tell this story about a time where I really came into my own, I guess, in so many ways. So it goes back to not having a clue what I wanted to do. And that really is a message I always preach, is that you do not have to have this perfect path. One time I got asked in an interview, what describes you the most? A square, a circle, a rectangle, or a squiggly line? And my answer was a squiggly line, because my journey has been anything but conventional. I've taken rights when I should have taken lefts. I've taken lefts when I should have taken rights. But, the point is that even though it hasn't been, consistently uphill, it has always improved, and I've gotten to where I've gotten. So the story I'll tell is the day that I got accepted to law school. And it has a funny story to it. So I had applied. I actually graduated college early. It wasn't in my plans. I graduated in 3 years from DePaul University. Just due to financial circumstances, I couldn't do 4. So I took community college classes and my classes at DePaul to just get it done in 3 years. And I was working 3 jobs and it was a mess. So a professor of mine at DePaul was like, have you ever thought about law school? I'm like, law school? I don't even know a lawyer. Like, no, I haven't thought about law school. She planted the seed in my head, and I was like, all right, I think I might do this. So long story short, spent a summer, got an internship. I was working nights at the Cook County Jail. I was doing all of these things to try to figure out if this was the path for me. And I decided that I was going to jump in head first. So I started preparing for the LSAT. I took it. I applied. This is like all in a 9-month time span. So in about 9-10 months, I decided I was going to go to law school, secured an unpaid legal internship on top of working 2 other jobs to make ends meet, did that, was taking classes, took the LSAT, applied to law school, graduated college, and went to law school, like all in 10 months. And so the part about getting accepted to law school is that I got rejected, like so many no's, so many emails that were like, thank you for your application, period. However, comma. And it's like, everyone out there knows if you hear a however, it's nothing good comes after the however. And so I was just so down on myself and started to think like, is this the path for me? Maybe I shouldn't do this. I need to explore other options. But the clock was ticking till graduation. And I'm like, was just so afraid of not having a plan. So one day I was at DSW buying shoes, which is my weakness. I'm a shoe fanatic. So I'm buying shoes at DSW, and the woman tells me, she's like, Ally, you're getting really close to free shipping or something. Like, how many points? You're getting really close to that. So I'm like, awesome, that's so great, whatever. Next day, I had a final exam for one of my journalism classes at DePaul. I have all the camera equipment, tripod, like batteries, you name it. I'm returning it in the basement of the College of Communications building. And I come up the stairs, I'm like out of breath, exhausted, and I'm about to get on the Red Line train to go home. As I'm about to walk down the stairs, I look at my phone and I see an email that says, congratulations. And I thought that I had achieved free shipping at DSW. Like, that is genuinely where my mind went, because no way was it an acceptance letter. Like, that was it. And so I'm like, oh, well, at least something's going to happen to me. I'll get free shipping. I opened the email and saw that I had been accepted to law school. And I was standing outside of the law school that I'm soon to graduate from. And in that moment, I just stood there, read the email, and was like, oh my God. And just like screamed. People probably thought I was a crazy person. I was so excited. And, there's been so many ups and downs since then. But what I will say is just that you will get told no in life a hell of a lot more than you'll get told yes. It's just the fact of the matter. And if there's one thing that I always preach to everyone is it just takes one yes to change your whole life. So every time you get told no, of course it's discouraging. Of course it takes a toll on you. Of course you question yourself and your worth. But always remember that it just takes one yes. And that yes is going to be the yes that opens doors you never even knew were possible. I mean, getting accepted to law school led to the National Law Student of the Year, led to Legal Experience, led to the Impact Project. It led to really the rest of my life. And that wouldn't have happened had I not opened that email and been accepted to law school. So even though I didn't get the free shipping, it was a hell of a lot better email to receive. And it just, instilled in me a great message that I hope others can relate to.
That's a tremendous story. She is Ally Pruitt, superstar in the making. Watch her moves. She's making it big. Happy National Women's Week to you. And I hope we can do this again sometime down the road.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
You got it. Take care. Thank you.